up, passengers? That is what I've decided to call you guys. I think it's fitting. I'm your conductor, you are my passengers, and buckle up because we're going off the rails today with a little solo podcast. If you're watching this, okay, you're like, what are you? Okay. I had a very cute like boho skirt set in my car, and then I had sweatpants and a crop top. And I was going to wear the cute outfit and pull myself together, and I settled on these sweatpants mainly because I'm down bad, for lack of better terms. I have been such a crackhead lately where I've been consuming so much caffeine. I actually just talked about this on Instagram. So much to the point where if I don't have caffeine, within 20 minutes of waking up, opening my little eyes, I get a migraine level headache. So I'm trying to wean back on the caffeine, and it's just not going well. My head is throbbing. So we had to put on some sweatpants today. And I'm going to give you a little breakdown of the solo podcast, mainly because I need it for my own mental clarity, because y'all, it is hard going without caffeine. You know what my ass is doing as soon as I finish recording this podcast? I'm driving to the nearest Starbucks. I'm not getting a cold brew. I'm getting a nitro cold brew, and I'm going to pump caffeine and coffee into my veins because that is the point that I'm at right now. Anywho, I digress. On this solo podcast, I'm going to give you guys a little life update. I feel like I owe you that. I'm going to talk about the thing that I'm struggling with currently, which I wasn't going to say that, and I just decided I'm going to. And then we're going to talk about my off the rails topic of the day, which, have y'all heard about the shark attacks? And then we're going to talk about boobs. Wow, that's like not a topic I was prepared to talk about, but I've been meaning to talk about it for a while. The topic of breast augmentation, boob jobs, plastic surgery, all the things. I had no idea people had so many questions for me online until I started talking about it on Instagram. So I have all your listener questions. I am going to do a whole podcast episode talking about my boobs. Wow. I truly hope my father's not listening to this podcast. Kurt Willett, not the time to listen. Okay, let's talk about a little life update. So where are we? It is, how in the hell, someone explained to me, is 2024 already more than halfway over? Like, someone told me that the other day, and I said, you're literally lying. No, it is not. And they said, yes, it is. We are more than 6 months into this year. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but you are halfway done. It is time. If you've got goals, you've got plans, you've got things to do in 2024. Look, time is ticking. The time is now to do them. I actually was just looking at my bucket list the other day. I will say I've done pretty good on my little vision board, but I don't know. Someone telling me that it was June just like lit a fire under my ass where I was like, oh my God, this year is flying by. We're going to blink and it's going to be December. So here's your little reminder that one, it's not too late to start, and you should start right now before it's too late. It sounds very morbid, like you're going to die when it becomes 2025. I don't like the sound of 2025. That is a weird sounding year. But yeah, it's coming quick. Anywho, little life update. So this week I'm going to Portugal. I'm heading on a group trip, my Miles with Morgan Portugal trip, which, by the way, if you're listening to this and you did not know, I host fun group trips where if you want to go, if you are scared to solo travel, you don't want to do it by yourself, you want to hang out with fun girls, and yours truly, I do a couple of those trips a year. So we are going to Portugal. Guys, I'm going to Europe with 24 girls. That is wild. My biggest fear, I'm like, I just don't want to lose someone. Like, I know we're all adults, but I really felt the need before this. I was like, should I buy AirTags? I know we're all above the age of 21, but should I put AirTags on all these girls? Because the last thing I want is for it to come out in headlines. Like, local Nashville influencer goes on group trip and loses like 2 Americans. I'm like, that is not a good look for my brand. That actually my brand would tank. So I don't really want that. I'm a little nervous. I hope I'm very confident I can keep track of everyone. I'm bringing a friend. It's going to be great. So I can't not wait to do a little recap on that. I thought about taking a microphone to Portugal and doing like a fun group podcast. But then, guys, we already know my suitcase is well over 50 pounds and a microphone is like 10 pounds. So it's like, we could take a mic and do an episode, or I could take a few more pairs of shoes and take a wild gander which one won. But maybe that's an idea for a future trip. So then I go to Portugal, and then I'm home for literally 4 days. And then I go to Sydney, which I'm very excited about. I'm actually stupid excited. I'm actually downplaying that because I don't want to be like an annoying 7th grade girl, all giddy and whatnot about her love interest. But I am very excited to go see Hot Aussie. I feel like it has been, I haven't seen him since, oh my God, when was that? Since April. Y'all, long distance is not for the faint of heart. I know they say distance makes the heart grow stronger or something along those lines, but shit is hard, okay? I love me a good FaceTime. I love seeing his name pop up on my phone, but I would much rather touch his abs in person than looking at them via a phone. So I'm going to go to Sydney the first 2 weeks of July. I do feel kind of bad. My friends are like, are you going to be here for the 4th of July? Like, let's eat hot dogs and do American things. And I'm like, oof, I'm actually not even going to be in America. I'm going to be in Australia. And I asked him, I was like, should we do something for the 4th of July? He's like, no, you're in Australia. Literally no one cares. I was like, okay. So I will not be participating in the 4th of July activities, but my hats go off to all of those in America. I do love America. Oh my God. Is the 4th of July America's birthday? It's gotta be. Oh, my father, if he's, okay, I already gave him a warning not to listen to this podcast. It is. Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. I need to go back to 1st grade. Guys, I'm telling you, the lack of caffeine is really affecting my brain cells. Anyways, it is America's birthday. You know what the craziest thing is? It is the dead of winter in Sydney, Australia right now. So I'm over here and I'm telling him, I'm like, oh, I made us a reservation. We're going to go on a little fun boat thing. I was like, I'm going to wear a cute dress. I already got my boat outfit. And he was like, you do understand it is winter. You were coming in the coldest month. And I was like, oh, well, that's crazy because it's like 100 degrees in Nashville. So it's very hard for my little brain to comprehend that we can be on the same planet and be in 2 totally different climates and time zones. And yeah, anyways, that is weird. So I guess I'm going to bring some sweaters to Australia in July. That's next on my agenda. That's kind of all for the life updates. I feel like I'm about to be so crazy busy with travel, but I will say I've been in Nashville. I've been home for a week and a half. That is a week and a half too long. Like, I always think that, I'm like, oh, I want a month at home and I want to have a routine and all this stuff. And I hit 1 week and I'm like, I got to go. That was a fun week-long routine. I am ready to be on the road again. So I'm very excited for these upcoming travels. Another little life update. Is there anything? I will tell you, as I promised in the intro, something that I have been struggling with because I feel like I share a lot of the highs, a lot of the chaos, a lot of off the rails stuff, but I also think it is important to share my struggles because I know people out there are also feeling the same as me. So I was hanging out with a girlfriend the other day and we were talking about comparison and how it literally is the thief of all of your joy. And something that I've really been having a hard time with, especially in the last week, is comparing myself to others. I think especially when it comes to the podcast and even social media. I don't know if there's any content creators out there, if you're on social media, I don't know what this little algorithm situation is, what we got going on, okay? For context, let me just throw it out there and why it's been affecting my mental state so much. I don't know. I hate saying numbers, but this is going to make you realize like the extreme extent of the situation. I don't know, on average, like 30, 40,000 views on a story. Okay. I don't know. That's just like in relation to my followers, decent, I guess. Lately, I'm like, well, it's a good day if 10,000 people look at my story, which is like not bad. But when you think about that, it is so mind-boggling and so frustrating. And I'm just like, why? I feel like, I do offer some, like I was about to say, I offer so much good information. I'm like, I don't know. I offer sometimes good information and sometimes a giggle or two for the people, but no one is seeing that. So it's been really, really difficult for me to show up online and do my job in an environment where it is so number heavy and the numbers just aren't there and there's nothing I can do about it. I can do Stanley giveaways. I can do Starbucks giveaways. That is an off the rails thought. I was like, I can flash my boobs. That actually would probably double my story views. So I'm not going to do that because that seems like something I can maybe get arrested for, or like flagged and my account taken down. But it has been really hard especially like, and I know I'm not alone with this. I go on there, and social media is a dangerous place to play the comparison game, because I will see someone else and they're doing X, Y, and Z, or there's a bigger creator, or there's someone doing a bigger brand deal. And look, I'm so thankful for everything I have, but it has been really hard on my mental state, especially, I mean, I love the podcast. It has been so great. I just realized, I was looking at my episodes. We hit our 1 year. We're actually past 1 year, which is really freaking exciting and something to celebrate, which I should be celebrating, except when I kind of got in this little low place I was in the past couple of days, I wasn't celebrating, because in my head, I'm like, well, I keep seeing there's more. There's people bigger than me. There's greater things. I see people doing podcast tours and people signing with networks and people doing all these ads and brand deals on the podcast. And I was like, I felt like a failure. I was like, well, little old me, like what am I doing? And then I was talking with one of my girlfriends, and this conversation really put everything into perspective for me. She was talking about a friend she has who has a smaller podcast than I do. And that friend was looking at my podcast, saying the same exact thing, saying, oh my God, I guess she was telling my friend, Morgan's podcast is so good and it looks so professional and she's getting really big guests. And then it made me realize, wait, so there's someone else thinking that about me, and then I'm over here thinking badly about myself and looking to the next person. And guess what? The person who's even bigger than I am, they're looking at the next person wondering, well, what's wrong with me? Why am I not doing this? So all of this to say, stop comparing yourself. I mean, I'm also giving myself a pep talk, because you will never be satisfied if you keep comparing yourself. It is the thief of all joy, because you're going to compare yourself, and then say you get to that next step, there's going to be another step. And then when you get to that step, there's always something else, unless you're like Taylor Swift. I don't think Taylor Swift can compare herself to anyone else, because like she is at the top, but like, congrats, Taylor. Love that for you. All of us, quit your comparing, okay? Focus on the now where you are. Focus on what you have, because you have something. We all have something. And I just think it is so important to remember that all you're doing is making yourself miserable. So that's kind of a big struggle for me that I've had in the past week. But I've gotten much better. I'm trying to shift my mindset a little bit, but I did just want to share that, because if you are in the same boat, just know that no matter where you are in life, no matter what level you are, whether you're just starting, whether you've been doing something for 10 years, there's always going to be comparison. So cut it out, okay? Cut it out, sister. Saying that to myself. Let's talk about a little off the rails topic right here. Let's talk about sharks, okay? I don't know if anyone, and I don't know when this podcast is going to come out, so I don't know if this is relevant, but I'm sure in the next 2 weeks there's going to be more shark attacks, because apparently Florida is just thriving. It's like shark capital. I went down the TikTok rabbit hole last night looking at the Rosemary Beach shark attacks. If you live under a rock and have not, maybe don't look that up, because it will ruin the way that you look at oceans for the rest of your life, particularly in Florida. And I believe in a past podcast, I said this in like my 30 unhinged things that I've learned. Nothing good happens in Florida. And guess what? I'm standing by that statement, because recently there was not like a little shark, not like a baby shark. That reminds me, baby shark, do, 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 do. Anyways, that's going to be stuck in your head. It was not a baby shark. It was a 14-foot, I believe, a bull shark. There were two girls. They were like 15 years old, cute as can be. They were out, and at first I was like, oh, maybe they were out paddling in the ocean. I know with sharks, like if you're flailing or you're swimming and they see your limbs, they think it's a seal, which means they attack you more likely. No, these girls were standing in waist-deep water in a sandbar not that far from the beach. The girls got attacked. One of the girls, I believe her name is Lulu, sending her prayers and thoughts. She lost her hand and her leg. Now, guys, let's just put ourselves. Can you imagine being 15 years old, or any age for that matter, almost losing your life to a shark attack on a family vacation, not only losing one limb, but losing a hand, which I feel like you need for so many things. Anyways, it is legitimately the most mind-blowing thing. I then went and started looking up all the videos. Do not, I repeat, not me being like a lifeguard over here speaking for the whole entire state of Florida. Stop going in the water there. There are so many videos recently of so many sharks. I don't know if it's like mating season. If any Floridians are out there, can you please message me and let me know? Is this common? Is this like a new thing? Because I feel like I haven't heard about it. But let me tell you, I used to love going in the ocean. Love taking a little swim, a boogie board. I've even gone surfing. You bet your ass, my ass. You bet your ass, my ass will be staying on the beach. I'm not even, look, in Australia, Hot Ozzy even told me people are in shin deep water, not even waist deep, and there's shark attacks. So it ain't safe out there. And then the other off the rails thought I've had is if anyone out there has been parasailing, I want to know why. I also have been parasailing many a times. It's fun. You do it in Florida. I actually did it in Mauritius, which was like really random because that seems like such an American touristy thing. And why I was on an island off the coast of Madagascar and they were like, "You want to go parasailing?" I was like, "Sure, sign me up." Anywho, in my TikTok rabbit hole that I went into with shark attacks, you guys go search parasailing and then like sharks. There are times when there are people and they're filming up there. And imagine this. Just picture you're up floating in the air. You're looking at the views. You're being a little tourist. You're in a parachute. And you look down and there are sharks circling your parachute and your boat. Okay, so you're like, wow, that's terrifying. Yes, I know. That is so scary to look down and see a shark. What you guys don't realize with parasails, these boats, they take little dips. Like for funsies. Like I really do think the people driving the boat think it is just wildly amusing to watch these tourists like scream and like dip in the ocean and go back up. So there's all these videos of people being like screaming like, there's a shark, and the people can't hear them. So then you see the video and the parasail starts going down because they take the dip in the ocean. And these people are, as I would too, screaming, flailing, all this stuff because their parachute is dipping into the shark-infested waters. And I'm just like, can you imagine the sheer terror? Also, I'm just like, the likelihood of a shark just like snapping off your leg and then imagine the parachute pulls you back up. That's really hard to put a tourniquet on when you're flying in the air. So guess what? You're probably going to die up there. Anyways, sorry for the morbid thought. Sorry for ruining beaches for the rest of your summer. Sorry for ruining parasailing for you, but let's be real, it's really not worth the money anyways. It's like kind of a tourist trap. So I don't know, maybe don't do that. So if you're a shark expert, holler at your girl because I'm very curious what's going on in these waters. If it's like mating season, who freaking knows, but it ain't safe. Okay, that's all I got on like the random topics. Now let's talk about what I initially said this episode was going to be around, which is the topic of breast augmentations, aka for a more or a less eloquent way of saying it, a boob job. Let's talk about boob jobs. This is something that I'm pretty open on social media. I'm like actually wildly open. And I haven't ever really discussed in depth the boob job I got. I was it was in 2017. So I was 23. And I don't know why. I mean, if you ask me, I will tell you. I've kind of answered in my stories, but I think for me, it's like I never wanted to just go on Instagram and do a reel or talk about my boobs because I was like, I just don't want people staring at my chest being like, let me observe her boobs up close and personal. But now you guys are listening to a podcast. Well, I guess some people are watching on YouTube, but I'm wearing a little crop top and you can't really see my boobs, so you can't stare at them too much. But I do think it is very interesting in the recent, I'd say the past year, the topic of explants. So getting your boob job or your breast, implants? I can't even speak. Getting your breast implants taken out has been a hot topic. A lot of people believe in breast implant illness, and they do think it is linked to a lot of sicknesses. Now, I'm not saying that to discourage you from getting a boob job. I'm not saying that at all. That is the fact. It is a trend. So I'm going to read to you kind of what breast implant illness is before we get into this, because I'm about to not agree with this, but I do think it is important that you have the information and then you can do what you want and I will answer your questions. So apparently, according to the internet, breast implant illness is a term used to describe a range of symptoms that some women experience after getting breast implants. These symptoms can include fatigue, memory loss, rash, brain fog, joint pain, anxiety, chronic pain, hair loss, weight changes, and depression. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt. Here we go. Here's the important part that I would like to note on that I believe in. Breast implant illness is not an official medical condition. There are no diagnostic tests to show that the symptoms are caused by the implants. However, many patients report that their symptoms improve after removing their implants. If specialists can't identify the underlying condition, they may recommend removing the implants as a next step. So I just think it is such a fine line. It's murky waters. There's nothing proven. Now, I'm not discrediting the women. I do think maybe it is linked to some illnesses, and if you take them out, you do feel better. But I'm here to say, on the other end of the spectrum, I've never experienced that. I think I came out of the womb with anxiety. Someone on Instagram was like, have you ever thought that your breast implants are linked to anxiety? And I'm like, nah, because I'm going to talk to Kim Willett and Kurt Willett and my whole entire family, like running up to like my great-great-great-grandparents who definitely all have anxiety because it all got passed down to me. I do not think that it is that. I'm sure for some people, but for me, I've had nothing but positive experiences. It was a breeze. I've never gotten sick. I've never had capsular contracture, which is something you can deal with implants. It was honestly a lovely experience with a very easy recovery. So I wanted to answer all the questions so you can get all the tea on my own personal boob job. And then here's the thing. Here's the lovely thing about 2024 is we are all allowed choices. And I do feel like there is some shame around plastic surgery. And I do think there is some shame around getting implants now, especially because so many women are taking them out. So I think with that, I don't know, do what makes you happy. And I'm never going to shame anyone for Botox or boob jobs or plastic surgery or whatever, because if it makes you happy at the end of the day, you are allowed to make an educated decision for yourself, and you should not shame anyone else for doing it. So just take that with a grain of salt. So the first question was, what size and what cc, and did you get under or over the muscle? So let me walk you through kind of how it went. I did 2 different sizes, which is a very common thing for breast implants because a lot of women, and I don't know if you guys realize this, have one breast that is bigger than the other. So I don't remember which side mine was on. I'd have to like really examine to figure it out, but I did 325 cc's in one and then 350 cc's in another to even them out, which I kind of got freaked out by that. And my doctor assured me it is very normal to do. So I don't know if that's like a normal size. Someone was like, what do you think the ideal size is? And I think that there is not an answer for that. I think the ideal size is what fits your body best. And I think that was my overall goal with going in is I'm a smaller frame. I did not want to look like I had 2 cantaloupes glued to my chest, for lack of better terms. Like that was my biggest fear. I wanted them to have some volume, but I wanted to look natural. I didn't want to be in a swimsuit and people be like, oh my God, like what happened there? It looks like an episode of Botch. I was like, no, we want to go natural. So again, you go in for a consultation, you try on a bunch of different sizes, and I think the best size is the one that fits your frame and that you feel the most confident and comfortable in. So for me, 325, 350 cc's. I did, here's where like there's like a lot of arguing about what's best. Again, personal preference. I did silicone implants. So there's silicone, there's saline, and then there's like the new one called the gummy bear implant. I don't know a lot about the difference between the 3. From what I had heard, I think saline is a little more old school, or like you might be able to see rippling. And when I heard that, I was like, no way. So rippling is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen boobs that have this, but like you can see the pull of the skin and the implant under. So I think that is a little bit more common. And I could be wrong, guys. I'm not a doctor, did not go to med school. I'm a journalism major, okay? Should not be talking about anything medical. This is just my opinion. So I didn't want to do saline. Silicone seemed like the best option. Gummy bear, I don't know anything about that. Someone asked me and they're like, what do you think about gummy bear? And I'm like, I think that's a dumb name for a breast implant. I do. I don't know anything. I think it might be a little bit more natural. Gummy bear might be a combination of silicone and saline. I really don't know. Do not quote me on that. So I did silicone, great and dandy. And then I did under the muscle. I don't really know the rhyme or reason why. That was my doctor's suggestion. I know some people do over the muscle, but I don't know. Even like saying that out loud, it just doesn't sound right. I just think it's better to go under the muscle. And again, that is my own personal preference. All right, here's the main question. What is the price? What are we talking money-wise? I actually had to ask my mom because I got it done in 2017. And I was like, I don't remember what I paid way back then. So according to Kim Willett, in 2017, mine was around $4,500. I got it done in Austin, Texas by good old Dr. Craven. Great guy. Hope he's well. Hope he's still at Austin Plastic Surgery Center. He was a joy to work with. Now, me saying $4,500 out loud sounds wildly cheap, but I think that was back in 2017. I also did not go in LA. I didn't go in like a really huge city like Dallas. I think it was probably a little cheaper back then, and also in Austin, Texas. I don't know. But yeah, I like told my mom, I was like, damn, that feels like a bargain for like a kind of a serious surgery. She was like, Morgan, it is 11 p.m. at night. Stop texting me about this. Like, I want to go to bed. I was like, Mom, I need you to tell me about my boob job. Okay, people want to know before versus after, do they feel any different? Yes, it feels different because I have boobs now. And back then I had nothing. I was very flat-chested. So if we go back in time, let me rewind. When I was on Big Brother in 2016, I did not have breast implants. So, I mean, if you really care to go look back, I think on finale night, I was wearing a red dress and like flat as a board, which like, look, I support the itty bitty titty committee. I do think sometimes it is hard for me to wear low cut tops. So if you are flat chested, you're winning in that category. You can wear whatever you want. You can wear like the sexy, like very low cut tops and it doesn't look as scandalous versus when I wear it, sometimes I'm like, oof, okay, you're making a statement right now. And like, it might not be the right kind of statement. So look, whatever size boobs you have, as long as you love yourself, I think it's great. Do what makes you feel best. But I was part of the itty bitty titty committee back in the day. I think I had an A cup on a good day. And then after the breast implants, here's where it gets a little weird. I don't really wear a bra, like ever. Don't own one. So I always just assumed I was a C cup. And then funny enough, I was actually talking to Hot Ozzy about it, which if you're new here, guy I'm seeing, we call him Hot Ozzy. I don't know. I was talking about it and he like laughed and he's like, you're not a C cup. And I was like, I really think I am. He was like, you're crazy. No. I'm like, oh, have you studied that many boobs, sir? Like, why are you telling me this? Then I actually did go in to get sized and everything, and I'm fully not a C cup. I think I'm like a very full D. But again, I never wear a bra ever. Like on a good day, I'll wear pasties, and that is it. Just because I don't need to. So those are the sizes. I went from an A to like a very full D. I also there are different profiles, which is a lot of people don't realize that about breast implants, which I didn't realize that either. There is, I want to say like low profile, maybe medium. I could be wrong. Maybe there's only two. And then there's high profile. Of course, at 23, I chose the high profile because my whole thing was when I got the implants, I just like wanted them to sit up a little higher. My biggest thing was like, I don't want to wear a bra. I was adamant on that. I don't want to wear a bra and I want it to just be perky. So I went high profile and you go in for a consultation. You try on sports bras. You get to put the implants in. You get to see. And high profile just sits a little higher on your chest. So if you're ever wondering, like a lot of people when I wear tops or like kind of like crazy cut necklines, they're like, what bra are you wearing? I'm like, I'm not wearing a bra. That's the beauty of it because they just sit a little bit higher. So that is why I chose that one. Now, feeling wise, I mean, I feel normal. Like, I feel like people think with breast implants, you feel like you have rocks on your chest, and you very much don't. Like, they just feel like normal boobs to me. I mean, I had nothing before, and then obviously you have something after. So that feels a little bit different. I will say, this is the one thing I noticed, that you have a lot less feeling. And that is something that the doctor warned me. He's like, your sensitivity goes down by a lot. I'd say 50%. But I was like, well, we got some pros and cons. I can have like, I guess, way more feeling in my boobs, but have no boobs. Or I can have half the feeling and have bigger boobs. And I was like, guess what I'm going to pick? The bigger boobs. So I guess that is a downfall. And some people don't like that. For me personally, I was like, honestly, like I still feel something, just they're not as sensitive. And a lot of people wanted to know how to choose a doctor. I feel like this was the number one question. And I think with any surgery, you have to do your research. It is not something, please, for the love of God, do not, like I see billboards and they're like, plastic surgery, like come get a facelift, come get a nose job. And it's always in like the seediest area in like a strip mall. And I'm like, dear Lord, that sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like, do not just walk into a place, do your research. And my biggest tip would be do consultations. I think some consultations do cost money, like it might be $250 or $300, but I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe when you go in for surgery, if you choose that place, your consultation fee goes towards the surgery. And a lot of people probably don't want to pay it. Maybe sometimes they're free. I actually don't think so, but it is worth going to a couple different consults because doctors will tell you different things. You might get different feels. You might like the way one person does it. Like go look at their Instagrams. I know it sounds really weird to just scroll through, but a lot of the plastic surgery doctors will post literal just like boobs all over their Instagram. Like go actually look and make sure it's something that you're wanting and you like the results. And if you want something more natural, that's what they do. If you want something more high profile, that's what they do. For me personally, God bless Dr. Craven. Love that man. It sounds so weird. I get so many compliments on my boobs, which like doesn't offend me because it's actually from women and not men. And a lot of women have reached out and being like, I hope this doesn't sound weird, but like I showed a picture of your boobs to my plastic surgeon because it's the look that I want. Because I really do feel like this man, and this is why I chose him, he does so well at making them look natural and making them actually look like real boobs versus just like the cantaloupe look, which we to each their own, but like not for me. And so I didn't see any other doctor, mainly because so my best friend from college, Allie, she at the time, this was a year after we graduated, she actually worked at his office. So she worked at the Austin Plastic Surgery Center. She was a nurse in the operating room. So she worked with this man all day long, and she actually got hers done right before I got mine done. So, I mean, I guess before I even got the consult. So I was able to be like, yo, can you take your shirt off? Can you let me see what we got going on here? How was your experience? And she had nothing but good things to say. I loved the way that hers looked. So then I went in for a consult, chose to go in with him. And like the process is pretty quick. I think then I scheduled my surgery maybe a couple weeks later. Here's the wild part. So my best friend Allie and I, we went to college together. So we freshman to senior year, we cheered together. Her and I were degenerates. Like we partied on 6th Street. We drank way too much. Lord knows what we did in Austin, Texas. And tell me the strangest thing. So I go in for surgery. You put on the gown. They obviously have to put you under. She was the one wheeling me back to surgery. So like I've got a needle in my arm. I'm like going to sleep. And the last thing I remember, I was like, wait, the girl I got blackout drunk on 6th Street with is the one who was wheeling me into a surgery center? I was like, sick. I hope I come out alive. So yeah, she was the one who took me to surgery, and she was also the one who woke me up from surgery, which if you guys have not been under anesthesia, it is such a bizarre feeling. Like you're out cold. You don't remember anything. Like I literally remember I was like looking up, staring at my best friend. She was like, you're going to do great. And I'm like, Godspeed. And then you like black out. It is truly unbelievable. And then she was the one, I'm in like the outpatient recovery center, and she's the one kind of waking you up. And I don't even remember what I said. I think I asked her, I was like, how do they look? She was like, they look great. And yeah, like she fed me Sprite and crackers. And then my mom came in, she took me home, and that was kind of it. A lot of people want to know the pain level. Honestly, not that bad. I'd say it is uncomfortable. So when you get out of surgery, you're wrapped up so tightly. Like you've got like the sports bra on, you are wrapped like a sausage, like tight, because they don't want to swell. They want to compress everything, keep everything in place. So I believe like, and you're also on like heavy drugs and painkillers. It's lovely. So I think like the first 24 hours, honestly, I was just loopy-loop. I slept a lot. Then when all of that wears off, I won't lie. I'd say the pain level was a 4 or 5 out of 10. So not excruciating, but it's definitely uncomfortable because think about it. You've got new boobs on your chest and you're laying down. So anytime you need to get up to go to the bathroom, you need to cough, you need to speak, you're having to pull from your chest where you've got like stitches. So it's definitely uncomfortable, but I'd say that lasted maybe 2 days of a little bit of pain. And honestly, like they give you drugs, you're fine, you lay in bed, you watch TV, and then honestly, after a week, you're like good to go. Here's the kicker, and I wrote down kind of like the recovery time so I don't butcher this. So immediately after surgery, for 2 weeks, here was the biggest pain in the ass. You can't lift your arms above shoulder level. So kind of hard. And I just remember I had flown to Austin. I had to fly back to LA. And my mom was adamant. She was like, I don't care. You literally cannot lift your arms. So like I couldn't lift my suitcase. Like I had to ask someone to put my carry-on above. Like they're very, very strict about that. And I'm sure some people like I did not. I was so serious. I didn't wash my hair. I had like little T-Rex arms, like scrubbing my scalp in the shower. I would not because I was so nervous. If you exert too much energy or say you lift your arms, there is a possibility of this capsular contraction, which is what you don't want, which let me get the little medical terminology of what that is. So it's a condition that occurs when the tissue surrounding a breast implant begins to harden and tighten. It results in discomfort, distorted breast shape, and even pain. So it's apparently very, very painful. And if that does happen to you after surgery, and it can honestly happen a couple years in, you have to get the implants taken out. And I was like, no way in hell. I just went through all of this and I'm going to ruin it by carrying my groceries too aggressively. Hell to the no. So for 2 weeks, I was very, very cautious of not lifting my arms. You can't work out. I know it's kind of a pain, but it's honestly worth it. And then after 2 weeks, you can do light cardio. But the kicker was, I believe I couldn't get my heart rate up past a certain level. So like I monitored it with my Apple Watch. So I would do like light legs. I would do light weights, maybe walk on a treadmill for another 2 weeks. So then that's like, you're like a month out of not being able to work out. And then they claim after like a month to 6 weeks, you can work out like normal. I was very cautious. So I waited probably 8 weeks before I went back into my normal workouts because again, I was so scared of something happening, which it can. I know girlfriends who have gotten it done who go fully back into the gym, lifting weights, doing everything 6 weeks after. So it's kind of up to you how you're feeling. A lot of people ask, like, did it affect my gym routine, my fitness routine? Can I do chest presses now? I'm like, well, I'm not like slinging out chest presses a lot in the gym. I don't work out my chest often, but yes, I can do chest presses now. Honestly, I work out like normal. In fact, I'm 30 now. I got them done at 23. It's been 7 years. I'm in better shape now than I was at 23. I work out harder now than I did pre-boobs. Like it has not affected anything. I would say the biggest pain in the ass is you do have to take a little bit of downtime as like you can't be in the gym. Yeah, but honestly, it's worth it. Like you can still go on walks and stuff like that. I would do it time and time again. I recommend it to everyone. It was such a good decision for me. It made me feel so much more confident. Let's see what other questions we have. Oh, here's a big one. Okay, so there's like a little like misconception around this one. A lot of people wanted to know, do you have to get them done every 10 years? That was, I don't know who made up that fact. I don't know if that was like an old statistic, whatever. No, you do not have to get them redone every 10 years. Some doctors suggest every 10 to 15 years getting your breast implants redone. Well, my ass, in all my research last night when I was texting all my family and friends about boob jobs at 11 p.m., I texted Allie, who is my nurse, and I asked her, I was like, what do you think about this whole getting them redone? Is it true? Is it false? She said no. She said it depends on the doctor. It depends on how yours are looking, how they're feeling. I and a lot of other people suggest just going into a doctor and getting them checked out. If they look fine and you like them, she even said, you don't have to touch them. Some people can go 20 years. Some people obviously have a boob job and then they have kids and then they choose to get them redone, which is definitely what I'm going to do. Because I was like, damn, my 10 years is coming up quick. Like, do I have to get surgery again? She was like, no. So I think I will probably choose to get them redone after kids, maybe like get a little lifty lift up in that situation. So yeah, I think it really just depends on the person. I think it's smart, obviously, to go get them checked out because we don't want to have any issues going on. But yeah, no, that is totally a rumor, which I don't really know who started that, but yeah, you don't have to get them redone every 10 years. Someone wanted to know, do I think my anxiety is caused by them? Okay. There's so many things revolving around implants, and someone did message me, the one who said this, and said she got her implants taken out and all of her anxiety went away. Yes, maybe that is, and I don't know. I feel pretty healthy, and when I go to therapy and I'm eating right and I'm not drinking copious amounts of alcohol and I'm like in a good headspace, I don't really have anxiety. So no, I do not think my implants are causing anxiety. For some people, sure, maybe. I'm not a doctor. I'm not over here being like, you guys are crazy. Implants don't cause any of this. I do think they do make some people sick. I'm saying I might think that there's a little bit of scare behind it, which is causing a lot of women to run to doctors and be like, take them out right now. I personally think that you should weigh out all options. Go to your doctors, check your diet, just check everything. And then I feel like explants would be like a last case scenario for me. My ass is not running to the doctor anytime soon asking him to take away my boobs. Like, I feel fine. But again, it is up to each and every single person. I've personally had no negative side effects with it whatsoever. I would say the only annoying part is like the little bit less feeling that I have, but that's fine. We're fine. Wow. And then you guys really did not hold back. This is a funny one because it is true. Someone said, are the nipples always hard? Do they take them off? Okay. Yes, they are always hard. For the most part. That I will say that is like, I don't know if that's a boob job thing. I don't know if that's a me thing. I do think because there's an implant in there, it does affect them. So yeah, unfortunately, like when I go braless, you're either free in the nip or you're going to wear a pasty. Like they are kind of perpetually hard, full transparency, whatever. Sometimes they do take the nipple off. Sometimes they do not. I specifically requested to my doctor. I asked him not to, I was like, do not touch. Don't even make a little incision. I don't want them off. I was like, I like the shape. I like the size. Please don't touch them. So I went like under the crease. Like, so you can technically go through the nipple. You can go through the armpit, which is like very odd sounding, or you can go like under the boob. So I went under. So there's like a tiny scar. It heals really well. Some people, for whatever odd reason, are like, take the nipple off. Personally, that sounds dreadful. I'm like, why would you do that? I do think when they take it off, they can maybe resize it to make it smaller. But then you have stitches going around your nipple, which just sounds absolutely so painful and so dreadful. So I specifically asked, I was like, do not touch them. So no, they don't always take the nipple off. I think it is a personal preference of where you want the implant to go, or if you want, I guess, your nipples resized or moved or something like that. So take that with a grain of salt. Someone did ask, capsular contraction, have I had it? Obviously, no, I have not. I actually don't know. I know a lot of people who have had boob jobs, and I've never heard of someone having that. I do think it is something to be very mindful of and careful because it sounds very painful. And I know if something does happen, like it can, I don't want to say be fatal because I'm not sure on that one, but I do know it can be very bad for you. So you always got to check. Someone did ask about a mammogram, like, which I never thought about that until they asked, and their question was like, do you have to get a mammogram before? Can you just go in there? And like, no, I never did. I just had a consultation, honestly was a breeze, put down my payment, paid for the anesthesia, showed up to surgery. But now that I think about that, I'm like, why don't they? Like, I mean, I guess if they found something, they would let you know during surgery, but it does seem a little bit more logical to maybe have a mammogram before. But to answer your question, no, they don't. But on that note, breast cancer is real and it is scary, and you should do checks. You should do self-checks. You should go in to get your yearly mammograms. It is very important no matter your age. So I wanted to use this time to say that. And now that got me thinking. But I think that is, I'm trying to think if there's any other questions on this topic that I missed. Well, yeah, guys, that's all I got on the questions. I spent the last 25 minutes talking about boobs. I really do not feel the need to ever talk this long on the topic of boobs ever again. But I hope that answered all your questions on breast augmentations. I hope that cleared up some of the questions and confusions. Again, just my personal experience. It is not the same for everyone, but I would recommend it to anyone who is questioning getting surgery. This is going to sound weird, but I literally love my boobs. I'm like, I love not having to wear a bra. I love that they look natural. I love Dr. Craven. He is the man. And yeah, that's kind of all I have on that topic. Please feel free to shoot me a DM if I did not answer your question. If you have any more questions or you're about to get surgery and you want me to help you out, I'm more than happy. My inbox is always open. And that is all I got for you on this solo podcast. When I come back, I'm sure I will have all the travel stories, all the exciting news. Who freaking knows what'll be going on in my life? But as always, guys, thanks so much for listening, and I will see everyone next week. Thanks so much for listening to Off the Rails podcast. It's been real, it's been unhinged, and I'll see everyone next week. In the meantime, do all the podcast things, like, listen, leave a 5-star review, and catch up with me on socials at Off the Rails with Morgan. Bye.